Hey everyone, it's Hunter Scott, your MonsterCub, and today we're talking about something a lot of you seem to have questions about, and that's modeling. How do you get into a video? What's it like? How do I get started? Do you have any advice for me? Today, we're talking about all of it. So we're going to break this video down into 4 key parts. 1. What are your motivations for doing adult videos? 2. How do you apply and get started? 3. What to expect and what the expectations are of someone who's applied. And 4. What to do to better market yourself for other gigs. So to begin, what are your motivations for doing porn? Do you want to make money? Do you want to have sex with hot guys? You want to be famous, travel? Is it meant to be another part of your career or marketing yourself or networking? Those are the primary reasons that people tend to do videos. A few examples of things you should not be using as motivators are getting back at your parents or an ex-boyfriend, trying to make quick cash in order to get away or do something drastic to make money. You also shouldn't do any kind of adult videos if you're having a problem with substance abuse at the time. It might seem like the best way to make some money to help your habit, but you'll probably end up regretting it in the long run. And also, if you're worried about your image, if you're insecure about how you look, doing a video can be a source of pride and help you feel better about your look, but it should not be the testing ground. There's other ways to prove your worth and validate yourself beyond doing a video that may exist forever. So to recap, your motivators should be getting paid, getting famous, fucking hot guys, or girls if you're looking to do straight porn. The next thing we should talk about is the actual application process and what goes into it and what you need to do. I have a website, obviously, where we have an application on there. You go to monstercub.com/model, and that's the direct link. It's also at the bottom that says you want a model. You click there, it'll take you there. My application in particular, I asked for 5 pictures. I asked for a full frontal, a good dick pic, a soft dick pic, a butt pic, and a good face pic. Remember that this is a job interview. You're applying for a position to model and to do film. So when I asked for these pictures on the application, they're crucial. They're probably the most important part of the application, beyond what your contact information is. I need to know that you're going to look good behind the camera, and that you know how to pose, or that you have the potential to be a good model. Sending me the wrong pictures, sending me the incorrect pictures, sending me pictures of poor quality, or pictures that I didn't ask for, not sending all of the pictures that are on there. Those are ways to be disqualified, because if you can't follow directions, you wouldn't be a good applicant. And if you did manage to put a bunch of good pictures on there, then if I didn't respond to you, it could just be because we weren't casting at the time, and you should follow up at hunter@monstercub.com. Now, when it goes to putting in your application, you need to think of a couple things. 1, what your roles will be. Will you be top or bottom or verse? What kind of kinky stuff are you into, if any? What kind of guys you're into? What events or traveling you might be doing in the next calendar year, because that could influence when or where you end up filming. And also, if you have questions or concerns or whatever, again, email me and we can discuss it. You also want to make sure that when you fill out your application, you put as much crucial information in there as possible in case there's any kind of problems or discrepancies. We can sort it out before we actually film. And we do ask for your HIV status in our application. Just because you're HIV undetectable does not disqualify you from doing a video. There's plenty of guys on my website who are undetectable and have been for years. So again, that shouldn't be something to worry about or lie about on your application. And once you've submitted an application, you should probably give it about a week or so for me to respond to you, or any company for that matter. And if you aren't getting a response, you need to evaluate again whether you submitted the correct pictures or whether or not they received it. And all you have to do is email whoever the studio is and at least follow up. You know, just like any other job, you're gonna wanna check and make sure that they receive your information. If they have any other questions about your credentials or whatever, then they'll answer them. So application out of the way. We're gonna talk about expectations. What's gonna happen after you apply? What's gonna happen on your first day of your shoot? We'll break it down into 2 parts. After you apply, typically, I contact guys I'm interested in as needed, but if you're particularly good looking, I may contact you as soon as I see your application. And usually I end up texting you and I'll introduce myself and we'll set up a phone interview or Skype and we'll work that out. I can't put together a shoot immediately. It will probably take at least 2 weeks to 2 months from when I see your application before we can reasonably do a video together, if at all. And another thing we should all realize is that because of the internet and because of the porn industry in general, there's a lot of piracy and a lot of theft. And because of that, the price or the fee or the rate that models are paid is often decreased for a lot of studios. Bear porn in particular doesn't pay a huge amount of money. Yes, you will still probably make over $100 an hour modeling, and it'll be fun. You'll get pictures, you'll get a membership to the site. It's all in all a good time and a good value. But if you come into it expecting to make $1,000 in your first scene, or to work with an A-lister on your first scene, you need to dial back your expectations a little bit. It's not to say that you're not a good performer or that you don't have the potential to be a star, but new guys are paid a certain rate and are expected to show that potential before they get a bump up in their salary or their raise. And again, every studio is different. Just because you get paid $200 a scene by X studio doesn't mean that Y studio won't pay you $600. It really all goes into how you market yourself and how aggressive you are with casting. The next thing to expect is what to expect the first day of your shoot. You're expected to show up on time, if not a little bit early. You're expected to be well groomed, and if you're bottoming, your butt has to be clean and good to go. If you're a top, I would expect you to be well rested and also have the vigor in order to keep it up. Whether that means you have to look at porn or have somebody play with your butthole or take a little pill or a little shot or whatever, we can work around that. You know, most studios have a problem with drugs on the set, and I personally would never want to see hard drugs at one of my shoots. But certain people have certain habits. When you show up, my shoots in particular take 2 to 3 hours long. And that's walking in the door to going home. You'll come in, we'll meet, or if we haven't already, and you'll fill out your 2257. It is a legal form that I sign, a witness signs, you sign, you put in your ID information. It's very simple. It is basically a legal form denying liability and giving the studio permission to use your images for their business. It also absolves us of any kind of liability involving STDs. And when you sign it, you should be sober and of a clear head in order to comprehend what you're putting yourself in, what you're doing. Again, there can be a lot of legal jargon that people get hung up on, and I have had guys who have wanted to have their video taken down after doing it. Just know that this form is binding. It's legally binding, and it's very hard to get out of. So if you are interested in doing a video, you need to keep in mind that you'll have to sign one of these every single time you do a video. After paperwork is aside, I take a picture of your ID. Only I see it. Unless I'm investigated by the government because they think I have minors on my site, which very few porn companies do anymore. It's just for my records, just to know that you're over 18 and everything is good to go. Also, I use the stats and all that on your ID to fill out your model page on the site. After that's done, we'll take pictures. You'll do some solo pictures, dressed, and then eventually you'll get down to being naked, hard dick, ass up, whatever the situation calls for. After pictures are done, we usually do the B-side, if the particular studio does B-side in their scenes, and we'll record that. Then we'll segue into the actual foreplay of the sex, and then into the anal after that, and then cum shots. Thing about cum shots, and this goes back to expectations. Most guys who do porn can come like that. There are some people who have a lot of trouble, it takes them a long time, and that's fine. But the whole point of filming porn and providing this fantasy for people is that they see that you got off so they can get off. And if you're unable to come within a reasonable amount of time, you may need to work on that. And if you come too quickly, that's okay, but we just gotta make sure we get it on camera. So if you're getting fucked really hard and you just feel like you can't hold back, yell out, "I'm gonna blow," or something like that. And we will focus in on that and make sure we get it. And we'll make do. It's better to have something than nothing. And after we do the performance, and I would say, you have to have reasonable chemistry with your scene partner and do about 3 or 4 positions while doing anal and cum shots. Those are essential pieces to doing a good porn scene. After that's all said and done, you clean up and you get paid. Some studios use PayPal or other electronic transfer devices. Cash App is another one. Other companies will actually cut checks or print checks for their models, and some people will pay in cash. And they're also, with the emergence of OnlyFans and user-created content, you have to worry about, or at least wonder about, content sharing. If you do a video with so-and-so, who all is going to see it? So after that is said and done, usually, depending on the studio, the video that you're in takes about a month to 6 months to air, to go public, to be broadcasted. And as a model, this goes into part 4, which is how do I increase my visibility and networking and get more gigs. Once you've done a video or two, when those videos are getting ready to come out, you should be blowing up your social media. I have a Twitter, an Instagram, a Tumblr, a Facebook, a YouTube channel, a Snapchat. All those things I use to market my business. You should be using at least 2 or 3 of those to market yourself. Because what will end up happening is the right person or the right studio or another model will come along and see what you've been doing, and they'll reach out to you and they'll offer you a gig. Or in my case, I've been offered to go to events and have my trip paid for, sponsorships, endorsements with clothing, things like that. Your image is a marketing tool. How you look, how you perform, your persona, it's all part of how you brand yourself and make money. And so, in order to put yourself out there further, you should take every opportunity you have to build off of it. And if you get pictures from the studio, if you get clips, if you yourself are taking pictures and doing clips and all that, put it on your social media, show yourself off, get yourself out there. Tag people who you want to work with. It's all part of the progression of the business. Now, in my experience, when a guy does a video for the first time, they either love it and can't wait to do their next one, or they hate it and they never want to do it again. And for those of you that this is like a bucket list thing for you, great. Just mention that whenever you're getting interviewed, so there won't be as much of an expectation for you to continue with it. And if you want to turn this into a side hustle or another job or another gig, then take my advice. Market yourself, put yourself out there. Whenever I was coming up, Bear Films had me in one one-on-one scene and one solo scene. And I used that exposure to create MonsterCub. You can too. And remember, if you need to model, your model application is below at monstercub.com/model. You can email me at hunter@monstercub.com, and I'll answer any other questions you might have about the business or how to get started. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing your applications. Have a good one.